When do you give your best? It's such a fascinating concept in business. I've never seen a book written on this. I've never seen a class or a lecture on this topic, but it still exists. When do you give your best? If you have the ability to give more to your customer right now, today, should you? Most of you would say yes. But that's not what happens all around us, right? There's engines out there that can go 1,000,000 miles. We know that. They put them and have put them for generations into semi-trucks that got to do long hauls. They have that engine. They can put it in your car, but they don't. Because they want it to break, so then you fix it so that you bring it back. They have microwaves right now that'll last 30 years, but they sell you one that'll last 7. Why wouldn't they sell you the one that lasts 30 years? They need you to come back. Sure, that makes sense. There's tires out there that you would never need to replace, but they sell you the ones that every 3 years you got to replace and bring back. I watch Usain Bolt in the Olympics get a lead, look over his shoulder, and then slow down. Why would he slow down? Well, what does how fast he can get from here to there have to do with the guy behind him? Well, he doesn't want to give him his best. He's not going to give him his best. He's going to give him the best. There's a difference. There's a complete difference in being the best and giving your best. So how do you know when to pull it? Look, there's a lot of promotions over the weekend. And if I was to put a boxing promotion on, okay? And I get sat down, I've got the venue, I got the main event, I got budget, I got all the players, I got the commission, I get this thing signed off, and I'm going to go for it, right? I got these 5 matches and I'm happy. But somebody in that same room with me says, okay, now let's take everything you did and let's double it. You had 5 matches, let's do 10. And then you get somebody else in the room that says, okay, well, now that we're at 10 matches, let's just add 3. Let's make it 13 matches. It's very difficult conceptually for you to explain to those 2 other executives why that's a terrible idea. It's just tough. How can it be a good idea at 5 and it not be a better idea at 10? It doesn't make sense. But it's called the law of diminishing marginal utility. It was one of the very few principles that I learned in my time in business school that actually mattered. And the example that you give so the kids will make it is chocolate cake. You have a chocolate cake. You're going to enjoy those first 2 and 3 bites. But 20 bites later, you're doing the exact same thing. You're doing the exact same thing, but you're not enjoying that anymore, are you? You don't want to take another bite. What? It's the same thing that you couldn't wait to take a bite. It's the exact same thing. Do you see the difference? Do you see where too much of a good thing is not a good thing? And you start to run into that balance. I mean, I watched this crush Triller. I watched Triller put out a product that sent a demographic back 20 years. It was awful. But they did a 1.7. That's a crazy success. If you're in the world of pay-per-view and you can hit 1 million, you are now breathing very, very rare air. You will be looked at by other content creators as a king. They did damn near double that in one night. How are you going to tell somebody that comes in the room their idea sucks? How? It's one of those things that's just hard to do. Then there's some things that all promoters are going to do. Because I watch box, I watch kickboxing, I watch wrestling, I watch judo, I watch jiu-jitsu, I watch MMA. Every new promoter is going to, of course, do the same thing, which is they're going to sell you and promise you something, and when you get there to see it, they're going to make you watch something else. They will make you. I tuned in. It was called Beat the Streets. My buddy's putting it on. I donate to it because I care. Oh, by the way, I want to see Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Schneider wrestle. Next thing I know, I'm watching a kids' marching band. First off, the thing starts late. And second off, I'm watching a kids' marching band for 8 minutes. Why did I watch that marching band? But everybody will do this. Every promoter will they'll bring in a halftime show without a halftime. You're going to have to see the such and such club out there doing splits and tumbles. You just can't get around it. Now, over the course of the weekend, one of the more fascinating things that I have observed took place, which is Endeavor, the parent company to the UFC, acquired World Wrestling Entertainment. To watch that entire thing unfold was quite incredible. And I used to know more about the WWE. I got out on the WWE. I got out at $33. I got in at $8, so I thought I got out at 33. They went all the way to 99. So before you think I'm a smart guy. But that also sends me back a number of years. But I thought, along the way, I thought WME represented Vince and company, and I thought Vince left WME for CAA. I believe it's at CAA right now, but it was WME that stepped in and bought the deal. I'm close on that. I'm close somewhere with how all of the politics here worked. But when this was absorbed, you have two vastly different products, right? You want to watch wrestling or you want to watch fighting. When you have the big dogs like this, you're going to be able to do just that. You're not going to tune in to a pay-per-view where you were promised either wrestling or you were promised fighting, and you're going to have to watch the kids' marching band like I have to do for every wrestling event ever. I'm not going to have to watch 28 matches before I finally get to Cox and Schneider, right? I mean, it's one of these things where you are going to have a confidence in your product or you aren't, but we're going to trust you either way. You ever met guys like this? There's only three types of guys out there. You got the guy that's ready. How do you know he's ready? How do you know he's ready to leave the classroom, leave the internship, step into the real world and be a boss? How do you know he says it? Or you'll have the guy that's got to keep on learning. He wants to do it. He's got a vision. He's got a mentor. He knows what he's going to do, but he's a couple of more classes. He could probably be up and going by 2024. Probably get his plan out the door. But he's going to take a couple more courses until then. And he's got a book that he just ordered for Amazon. Right? You get that guy. Or you have the guy, the third guy, this is the one you don't want to be, that blames other people. You've got him. He can't do it. It wasn't enough because somebody else stopped it. But these are your only three types of guys. And you want to know which one you are or how you become a different one? You say it. There is no test. Society doesn't test you. If you say you're not ready, you're not. We'll believe you. But if you step forward with the storefront and you open doors and say you're a business, we will believe you. Just so you understand. So, as this merger comes about, it was very interesting to me because it was stated that the UFC is now worth $12 billion, which is up 300% in a shockingly short amount of time. I mean, that is a stunning achievement. Stunning. And that the WWE is worth $9 billion. And that's a very interesting juxtaposition, isn't it? The UFC is worth more than the WWE. That's what we were told. That's interesting to me. What, have you guys predicted it? It sure hasn't been around as long. It sure wouldn't have the catalog, and most certainly wouldn't have the library. Not even close to the arm of merchandising. I mean, to the point of merchandising where it's almost non-existent versus an absolute juggernaut. Does it surprise you? Over the weekend, the WWE sold 144,000 tickets. 72,000. And they did a two-night event. Everybody told Vince a year ago, you can't do it. Everybody told him that. Roger Goodell weighed in on it and said, you can't go back to back. Even if it's a Super Bowl, you can't do two nights in a row. It was supposed to flop. And if I was to be fair, I didn't think he could do it. I thought it was a bad idea. But on Saturday, he sold out 72,000 seats in an arena where there's 50,000 people that can't see what's going on. And the next night, they or like-minded people all came back. Same price. That's fascinating. Not to mention you can't see. And I'm saying that from personal experience. Jack Hager invited me to the WWE. I filled a motorhome up. I got the Roberts boys. I got FRB. I'm trying to think. Tate. We drive all the way up there. Thinking, we would go to Will Call, thinking we're going to have great seats. The guy that was just the champion invited us, the guy that's on the car. We were up the top. There was 2 rows left. The only person that had worse seats than us, and it was only by 1, was Daniel Cormier. I'm in the second to the worst row from the top, where I can turn around and touch the wall, the top. But Daniel was at the top. and he also got hooked up by one. It was Seth Rollins hooked him up. So these wrestlers, when they give you garbage, but it doesn't work that way. If I go to Dana for some seats to make me look good, he's putting somebody that's going to make me look good. I share that with you just to be funny. But it really is remarkable. You can't see a damn thing. Not only can you not see the action, you can't even see the movie screens. It's so far out. And they still did 72,000 people. And then the next night they did another 72,000 people back when I did it. Right? These were comped to me, but I'd gone to a WrestleMania before. It was when Brock Lesnar took on Kurt Angle. It was at Safeco. This is when Lesnar hits the moonsault and basically breaks his neck. I was so high up and I paid $80. $80 and I couldn't see the action. So, I mean, I'm just sharing for you that in today's time frame without even looking, I would imagine we're very safe saying every seat was $100. I mean, let's just say that. That would be the minimum, the cheapest. I'm sure you went all the way to thousands. Let's just say they're $100. $100 times 144,000. That's remarkable. For a product that lives in the pay-per-view space, has a meaningful placement on Mondays, comes back again for another product known as SmackDown later in the week for another 2 hours. That's 5 hours of content with a pay-per-view every single month. That is shocking. And that lost out in an evaluation to a company that just started in 2001. It lost out by $3 billion. That is shocking to me. It lost out by the value of the Los Angeles Lakers. You could buy both, the Lakers and them, for what the UFC is valued at. That's shocking to me. And that's very fascinating to me. And I heard a comment made. I heard a comment by somebody that I respect. I'll leave their name out of it. But they said that this merger could be the gateway to fighters being paid more. Well, that's a comparison you really don't want to make. See, the only time you can do the fighters aren't paid and the fighters are mistreated, the only time you can do that is with people that don't do math. When you explain that a fighter made $350,000 and he was only called upon 3 times in the last 12 months, it changes the perception. And if you took all the guys that fight that make $300,000, we'll just use that number, but let's take the same amount. Let's take the same guys that make $300 in the WWE. They go 250 nights. So now you got one group of guys that are getting paid $115,000 a night, and you get another group of guys that are being paid a little less than $2,000 a night. So you can always make those comparisons, and we can always make MMA and the evil empire. We can do that, and we can hit Dana right over the head, as long as we continue to do it with people that don't take the time to do math.